Brian Fuller, Mayor of Holcraft, Vikingcat Paranormal. We are here in one of the most haunted towns in the United States at a very haunted location. Would you like to tell them where we are?
I came in here blind. So
She came in here blind. She doesn't know anything about this building or the history. I know a little bit. We are here at the Gettysburg Orphanage, one of the most notorious hotspots in Gettysburg. And we are getting ready to do our tour, our daytime tour, before we do our nighttime investigation. Join us, won't you?
My name is Dr. John Francis Borns, and I would like to welcome Brian and Meredith from Vikingcat Paranormal to my orphanage. And a special welcome to everyone watching virtually through, damn it, I forgot the name.
Paraventure Paracon.
I knew it.
That's why editing's so great.
Yes. Paraventure. Why am I having trouble with that? Para-adventure?
Paraventure.
Paraventure.
Paracon, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, greetings everyone. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dr. John Francis Borns, and I would like to first welcome Brian and Meredith from Vikingcat Paranormal, and a special shout out to everyone watching the Paraventure Virtual Paracon and all the wonderful people associated with the Michigan Alliance of Autism. So, welcome. I have manifested myself for you. In my earthly existence, I was born in 1814, just up the road in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Passed away in 1899, 85 years of age. Darn man riding a bicycle on a street in Philadelphia knocked me down, hit my head, and the ticker went as well, and I passed away. Now I roam from place to place, virtually undetected. But I am here today in the orphanage. You see, I was the founder of this wonderful establishment after the Civil War ended in the year 1866. So let me first give you a little history of our fine premise here and tell you about the connection to the Battle of Gettysburg and this fine orphanage. You see, on July 1st, 1863, the man pictured there, Sergeant Amos Humiston from the 154th New York Infantry, would be mortally wounded north of town. And as the poor man lay dying, he held a photograph of his three children. That is a copy, Frank, Frederick, and Alice. And that would be the last image Amos sees before he passes away. A few days later, a local woman, the Shriver girl, would come across his body, and she would take the photograph and give it to her father. You see, Mr. Shriver owned a saloon on the outskirts of town. At that time, the good doctor was here in Gettysburg, serving as a volunteer surgeon for the Union Army. Good doctor's been known to have a drink or two, so I had a chance encounter with Mr. Shriver, and I was intrigued by that photograph. I asked him if I could have it. You see, the good doctor here made it my mission to find the family of this fallen soldier. You see, Amos Humiston didn't have any identification on him, and nobody knew who he was. So I took it upon myself to run a detailed description of that photograph in all the major Northeast newspapers. This became national news. Children of the battlefield, whose father was he? And it took about 3 months before this woman pictured here, Amos Humiston's wife, Miss Felinda Humiston. She lived in a small town in New York State called Portville. She would send me a telegram, and the good doctor would take a train to Portville. And of course, when I arrive, I'm welcomed as a good Samaritan, a real hero. They had a wonderful dinner in my honor. I returned the photograph to the family, though they will tell you that I didn't really give them the original back, that I gave them a copy, but we'll talk about that later. But anyhow, we had a wonderful time, and it was my dream back then in 1863 there was going to be a need for buildings such as this. So many men died during the course of the Civil War, over 600,000. leaving thousands of orphan children. So in 1866, the good doctor here indeed would become the founder of this orphanage. I was joined by a larger group of men. We formed a corporation in Philadelphia. One of the men that was heavily involved was General George Meade, the commanding general here at Gettysburg, and he would help raise us a lot of money to purchase this lovely building from a man named Captain John Myers, one of the bravest men I've ever met. He was a veteran of the War of 1812 and was here during the Battle of Gettysburg. During the battle itself, there were dead and dying soldiers here in the orphanage. They called me Old Sawbones. I performed my fair share of amputations. Arms and legs were stacked right outside the windows of this orphanage. So in 1866, Dr. Bournes actually invited Miss Felinda to join our staff here. She moved here from New York State and served as one of the matrons. The children absolutely loved her. She brought her children. They lived in the building. And when we opened this fine place to great fanfare, the children were so happy. They found their new home. They're well fed, they're well clothed, they're getting a good education. They would be out here in the backyard playing. We had a special visitor, as seen in this picture, 1 year after opening. Then General U.S. Grant visited the orphanage. He would become president a year later. I asked the general, would you like to say a few words? General was a man of few words. All he would say was, thank you. So things, as you might expect, were going really, really well the first 3 years, but then some of our staff left us, including Miss Felinda. She would meet a man passing through town named Asa Barnes. They made eye contact. Asa Barnes sent her a letter proposing they get married. And Felinda was looking to start a new chapter in her life. She accepted. They were married right in the very next room, the dining room. And it was a very festive occasion, but the children were sad because their beloved Miss Felinda would be moving to Massachusetts with her new husband. So the good doctor had to hire a new matron. And I knew a woman that had exceptional credentials. She was a strong disciplinarian. I thought she'd be perfect. And her name is Rosa.
Now, John, do you not know that the orphans are asleep? What are you doing in here?
Miss Rosa, you abruptly walked in.
Who are these people?
They're visitors. They're here for a good cause, Miss Rosa.
The children are in bed and there's no such thing as a good cause. Exactly who are you, dear, and what are you doing here?
Brian, and that's Meredith.
Oh, it's such a delight. Well, in case you're not aware, or if John has not told you, my name is Rosa J. Carmichael. However, I do not care if you are the mayor of this disgusting little town or one of the lowly orphans. I will be called Miss Rosa. Now, it seems you two mortals may have a problem remembering that, so we shall practice. I'll ask you a series of questions. I care not what you think about the answers. However, you will answer, yes, Miss Rosa. Are you mortals happy to be here in Gettysburg?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Rosa.
Well, me not so much,
I'm
but
not a mortal, but
I'm happy for you. Did you have a pleasant trip here to Gettysburg?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Rosa.
Ah, lovely. Do you promise to obey and to not vex Miss Rosa?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Rosa.
Oh, you didn't answer quite so sincerely.
Yes, Miss Rosa.
I will be keeping an eye on both of you. Well, I don't know what my dear John has told you about this orphanage.
I was just getting to the part when I brought you in. And that's where...
In place of that horrid woman, Felinda. Do you know that she and the townspeople would have birthday parties, picnics, Christmas parties? It was all so wonderful. But that will all change. And the children were much happier no matter what anyone will tell you. And please, never believe the horrid rumors about me.
All the false stories they tell of you and I.
Yes, and you. They tell them to this very day.
Yes.
We wanted nothing but the well-being of these darling children.
Absolutely.
And I do believe they'll hear stories to this very day. There's a courtyard right behind this building. You see, it's where the outhouses were. There is a horrid rumor that 2 citizens were passing by and heard the piteous crying of what sounded like a young boy. They will look around and find 6-year-old Georgie London had accidentally locked himself in an outhouse. What a little fool. Well, I would never do that on a very cold night to one of my darlings. However, do you know, I will stand trial for that. Needless to say, I will be fined a mere $20. But they will tell me to leave Gettysburg. I don't have to listen because this is run by John and the board.
She would never leave the children. It was all a lie. They slandered her poor good name.
Yes, they did. They will even say some other things that I will tell you about.
Terrible.
So please, do not believe a word of it.
Shall we take these fine people through the rest of the lovely house?
Yes.
Sure. Follow
See,
us.
now the orphans are asleep, so I won't be able to show you any of them. Please come. And don't dawdle.
So, of course, this is our lovely dining room, and as many as 80 to 100 children would have their meals in here. Space was much wider back then. Wall was not here. The kitchen was detached from the home, and the meals were served approximately where the window is behind you.
However, not every child took every meal. For you see, they had to complete their schoolwork to the liking of the teachers and their chores to my satisfaction. Needless to say, many would miss meals, for good reason, of course. And do you know, those ungrateful children said that they wished the kitchen would burn down because Cook's food was so bad. Totally
Nerve of
ungrateful,
those
I
children.
say. All right, I cannot tell a lie. Do you know it was $2 a month to feed those children? I needed money for myself. I must be seen in the latest fashions. I had to meet dignitaries and such. And there were those special dinners with Dr. Bournes.
Of course.
All of this will cost me an arm and a leg, but we'll get to that part later.
Yes. One of the stories the tour guides like to tell, of course, to sell tickets, they'll say in this very room, you forced children to stand on these tables and chairs, and they would stand as long as they could until their poor legs would grow weary. They'd fall and collapse to the floor, and they'd repeat it over and over again. Now,
People have nothing better to do than gossip. You know, I would never do such a thing to those wonderful children.
of course not.
Oh, and John, have you heard the story? We shall show them the bottle. That I withheld a certain drug from one of my darling children. And as a result, he will die. The drug is magnesium. And oddly enough, they did find a bottle bearing the name of the druggist in Philadelphia, where we were from, and it was that very drug. Now, to this day, I cannot figure out how it happened, but it was hidden behind some of the bricks in the cellar that had been removed. Needless to say, I had nothing to do with that poor darling's death.
They slandered you, Miss Rosa.
Yes, they did.
Slandered you.
And
Shall we
that's
show
not-
our guests a sneak peek at one of the rooms we're working on,
Oh,
or that the
yes.
mere mortals, I should say, are uncovering?
Please come with us.
Well, the mere mortals have uncovered this original brick, 2 fireplaces. And this was the parlor of the orphanage, and we will soon restore it to its original look. So,
Well, not quite,
No.
John.
sorry.
You see, during the Civil War, this will be a field hospital, as were many homes, schools, churches, and such in this area. All of this will be lined with the bodies of soldiers, many waiting on the surgeon. Accounts say that there were men lined up. Some had already
And I
perished.
indeed was here. I was here and I met
Yes, you
Mrs.
were.
Thorne from the cemetery, the caretaker next door.
Yes.
She came here for meats to feed General Howard and others. Poor woman took one look into this room. She saw 6 motionless bodies and other wounded. She left without taking anything. She was so mortified.
Well,
It was a horrific scene indeed.
Oh, remember, John, this is where the surgeons were performing those horrid amputations, and they would toss the limbs out the windows. They were as high as the windowsills all around this house. If you wish to see such horrid images, there's something called the Library of Congress that has such photographs.
Yes,
Such horrible times.
yes. They affectionately called me Old Sawbones.
Oh, and I'm quite sure with good reason, my dear.
Absolutely. Shall we take our guests to the cellar below?
Well, let us show them the artifacts.
Oh, the artifacts, yes.
He's getting a little old. Just bear with him.
Okay, Miss Rosa, I'll let you do the honors.
Now, I am quite sure you will look at this horrific display. If you're of a certain age, you may know of the man who placed this here. He has very famous grandchildren in Hollywood. His name was Cliff Arquette. You may know David and Rosanna Arquette. What he will do is open a museum here in this orphanage in 1959. You see, his stage name was Charlie Weaver. You may have remembered something on your big boxes that had to do with Hollywood and squares. It was quite popular, I understand. Well, when he created the museum as an homage to the orphanage, he put this small child shackled to a wall. I find it completely disgusting, but you mortals seem to absolutely adore it. So I must point it out. Now this is called a stump doll. It was found in the cellar of the orphanage. It has no arms, no legs, no face. This was very, very common during my time and the time that the orphans were here. It's made by the Amish. We constantly have people who call themselves paranormal investigators or ghost hunters or psychics and mediums. We allowed one of the psychics to hold that doll. She said the love she felt coming from that doll warmed her heart, and it belonged to a little girl named Sarah. We did have an orphan named Sarah here at the orphanage. Now our other artifact is the one we had discussed. That is the blue glass bottle that was very mysteriously hidden. John, you didn't hide that bottle, did you, dear?
No.
I never. So, no. We won't discuss that any further. So if you're ready,
Yes,
we'd like
Miss
to
Rosa.
take you to the cellar. Oh, very good. You're such a quick learner. We ask that you watch your head and watch your step, please. This is all original.
How the children love this cellar, the calmness, the coolness. Children were very happy here.
It's such a wonderful place. You have the fieldstone of the earth. You have the wood of the forest. It may give you pause to notice there is not one nail holding any of these beams in place. And then occasionally you will hear the waters of meditation running right through these pipes. Such a calming place. I spent a great deal of time down here, as did the children. I found it relaxing. They didn't so much, though, did they?
Well, the tour guides today will say that you would shackle children to the walls of the cellar, as preposterous as that may sound.
Absolutely preposterous.
I don't see any indication of such.
Well, some fool has placed
Forgot
this
about
tie
that.
wire and the shackles. Actually, there were many more of these, but they have mysteriously disappeared. It is said that I shackled the little darlings down here in the darkness of this cellar, and in another place that we will go to.
The other story that is quite preposterous is the guides will say that you would place young children as young as 4 or 5 years of age inside of a barrel like that one in the corner, and you would tie their wrists, and the children would stand in the water, their legs would grow weary, they would nearly drown. You recall, children, that's where we bathed the children back in the day.
That's
We
right.
had no modern plumbing, as
And
you
we
call it
tied their
today.
hands just in case
Exactly.
they were
Think.
to fall in so the darlings would not drown.
Exactly.
The things that are said are awful. Now, I know you're wondering about this nonsense. Visitors today bring these little gifts for the children. I know not why, and I personally am totally against it. You see, I did not believe in play. You are going to work your entire life. Why not start practicing from the time you are young? I had them work, but they still continue to bring these items. Now, there is a story about this very cellar that we stand in. It is said that it affects those of us who spend a little bit too much time here. Take the beloved Felinda. Do you know she married a man 40 years her senior? You mortals have a word for it today. It has something to do with gold and digging. Do you know the word, dear?
Gold digger. Miss
Gold
Rosa.
digger, that's it. You see, she needed the money, and that she will leave her 3 children here with me for 2 long years. Unbelievable. And then, I'm sorry, John, there is the upstanding Dr. Bournes, whose real name was Burns, by the way.
I changed it to Bournes at a young age.
Yes, he did.
And of course, they would accuse me of embezzling money from this place. And
Yes.
they would call me a shyster. But
My-
of course, at the end of the day, I never faced any charges. It was all fabrication.
Well, my dear John, will indeed embezzle so much money that upon the closure of this orphanage, when they look at the ledgers, there was not a thing left. The contents in this house will be sold at sheriff's sale. And then there's me, so sophisticated, so educated. Yet I will be forced to commit crimes that are spoken about to this very day. Then I will disappear in the middle of the night without a trace, never to be seen or heard from again. They still look for me to this day.
Miss Rosa, dear, shall we tell the audience the truth of what happened? I think not. Some things are best taken to the grave.
Well, here is what I do know. There is something about this cellar. As we told you, this was a field hospital. The worst cases, the men who they thought did not have a chance, were brought to this very cellar. It is said that these men made deals with the devil himself. Some to live, to get back to their families. Some to die, to be put out of their misery. All of these deals have created portals where evil seeps in and affects those who come into this cellar. But, as you know, I'm sure that's just a story. Agreed, John?
Agreed. Shall we show our friends to the pit, as the tour guides call it, and then we'll
Yes.
explain what that pit was
Yes,
actually
we
used
will.
for. So let's take a walk.
Come with us. Watch your heads.
So, of course, on the current day ghost tours, they will take our guests to what is described as the pit, and they will tell stories that this lovely woman would tie children up, shackle them, and that they could be in this confined space for hours, days, or even as long as a week.
Well,
It's-
it was true. I did have this excavated
well,
behind the stone, but it was for storage reasons.
exactly.
Of
We
course.
kept our meats down here, and
Well,
it was a cool,
occasionally
dry place.
I did store some children here. I cannot tell a lie.
Shh,
I'm
Rosa.
already gone, so.
Rosa,
Well, I'm sorry, John.
how upsetting.
Do you know in their accounts, they say that rats nibbled on their little fingers and toes? How horrific it must have been for these children.
Very dark, also.
What I find even more disturbing, on what they call ghost tours, which makes John and I laugh because we are the ghosts. They like to go and sit in that space. I guess they're hoping for rats to come along or something. I know not. And some of the children are still here to this day. with me, of course.
We do.
They did love me so.
We do like to give them a good scare every now and then.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
And especially you mortals. We have a very good time with you.
Yes. So I think we've taken them through the house, my dear, and obviously those that are watching will now come to appreciate the goodness of Dr. Borns, and my lovely associate, Miss Rosa. But
Anything that was done, John, we did it just to make the children.
We had the best intentions.
Yes, they had to be ready for the cruel world that awaited them. We meant them no harm.
And what better way than to invite those who may be watching from all over the country to come visit us. We would love to meet you in person.
Oh, yes,
You'll have
would.
a wonderful time at the orphanage.
Yes.
Thank you so much.